do. All right. What up, guys? We're gonna be reading Monero. We're going to look at the Monero circular economy pledge in perspective to get more of an idea of Monero in general, and then we're going to go back to reading the Zero to Monero second edition, just so we can have an understanding of crypto economy. This is kind of a thought I had after what's the word I'm looking for? After having a thought about people where I ranted a little bit about people take Bitcoin and always exchange it back for fiat. Fiat essentially then wins in this scenario where I am taking Bitcoin and I'm just going back to fiat. I didn't really decentralize or escape the financial matrix, if you want to call it that. This is something that is important to understand. When you go back to fiat, you essentially are doing nothing for the cryptocurrency. You are taking that huge amount of supply and you're throwing it back into the universe where the demand might eventually not be there, and it just overall hurts it. Ooh. Why is VM slow? Too many Chrome tabs? Did Chrome crash my browser? No! One Chrome tab ruined it all. Maybe do a reboot. Oh. Maybe it was a glitch. Yikes, 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 yikes. What is reboot? What up, Billy Bo Jenkins? Should I snapshot? What went on last night? I was too busy sleeping. I'm reading the Monero paper. Good that you are getting sleeping. I forget meme. We're just reading the Monero paper, so people have a good, maybe like baseline understanding of why Monero's privacy is maybe superior. Fungibility, why it matters. Force a reset. Yeah. Something's going on. Got my laptop situation fixed, kind of. I'm still like pissed, even though they've taken care of it pretty fast. I will say they answered me pretty quick, and they took care of it fast, if that makes sense. But I don't know. I'm still kind of mad about it. I'm still kind of mad. I'm like, it's a lot. It's just wasted time. That's what I'm more mad about. Now I have to, you know what I mean? Now I have to go get it. I have to repackage my shit. I have to repackage my like damaged laptop, and then, well, not damaged, my fucking warranty. I have to deep repackage it, send it out, and they're gonna send me another one. You need to put the live disk back in. Installation and oops. Begin installation only puts the. Let's just delete and redo it. Let's just delete and redo. There was nothing important on there. Like, it like froze. But when it comes in, I think I'm gonna put OpenBSD on it, or OpenSUSE. We're gonna do like, it says 4 gigs of RAM bare minimum. We're gonna do 8. And then 6 CPUs. We need to go to, what do you call it? Someone mocking Linux for having a blurry text doesn't know that Wayland is actually the most trash thing ever made. What's with the Wayland hate, man? What did Wayland do to you? Wayland's just, in terms of security, it's better. It does, it sandboxes the GPU. When when is Rust X11 server releasing for real? I will say that I think Linux users should still have a choice. I mean, security should always be the first thought, but I think security should be the first thought, but my Linux fundamental ideology says let people do. I think Intel. I think people should still be able to choose what they want. I'm gonna try to go full FOSS. Like I'll do it for like I'll use like the freest software on the planet for like a month. Like with only free. It's gonna be kind of hard because JavaScript is everywhere. What do you call it? Most FOSS OS. The most prominent open source operating FOSS, primarily based on the Linux kernel. The most free. What is the most free operating system? What does GNU IceCat has Libre.js installed, making sure all JavaScript is running either FOSS or blocked? That I know of, but I think there's some sites I just won't be able to run. What OS does FSF recommend? Hyperbola, GNU, Libre, an independent long-term support system emphasizing simplicity and freedom. Didn't we figure out Parabola is like the freest of them? They're like the craziest ones. No, it's for videos. It's videos where it's something important. It's important enough, and then like unfortunately, what do you call it? Ghost blog requires JavaScript. Unfortunately. They just give it they just have the best option for writing. Additionally, it endorses specialization for using Libre, CMC, Proteno OS, Replicant. It says hardware respect users freedom, recommend systems with firm freeware like GNU Boot, replacing Libre Boot as of February 2025. And devices such as the ThinkPad X200 T40 series with Libre firmware. The FSF, the Free Software Spectrum Freedom program, certifies hardware that makes these high standard software freedom. Oh yeah. Oh, okay. So Libre Boot's not even a thing anymore. GNU Boot is 100% free software. This is awesome. Why the fuck does Ghostblog use proprietary JS though? Because they have like payments systems in it. One time I was visiting Sam Bent's site, and I was like, why isn't your site fucking working? Am I retarded or something? And he's like, oh, you need JavaScript, that's why. So, while JavaScript is not required to write or publish blog posts, it can be used within the post needed. Ghost allows the inclusion of JavaScript by placing it inside scripts tags. For advanced use cases, Ghost can be used as a headless CMS where The katana is managed by Ghost but displayed on the front end built with JavaScript framework. In summary, JavaScript is necessary for running Ghost itself if self-hosted, but not required for basic blogging. Let's see my site. Cringe moment. Blog. Later, Billy. Actually, I have to pull up Tor. If my site doesn't need JavaScript, guys, then I'm based. Is it .com? It is .com. Don't worry, we're going to go back to reading Monero, guys. Safest and restart. Okay, so it looks kind of like shit when you do this, but okay. JavaScript is not needed for my site, but it does make it look shittier, I think. Versus, yo, what's up? What are you talking about? If JavaScript is needed to read my blog, you can fully disable JavaScript and it looks like it'll work. And we're going to be talking about Monero in a second. I just want to see something. It does look shittier. So if you're... But I try to make my site as simple as possible so that it doesn't... Did I miss when you compared it to Zcash? No, not yet. We haven't gotten there yet. The Monero white paper is kind of long. This is going to be a... probably for the next couple of streams, I'm going to be reading over it. So if you are wondering if you can read my site via JavaScript and you're okay with the worst background in history, then absolutely use it. I embrace it, and then you can check out my podcast, but you can't really play it, I think. Not entirely sure. Because I embedded it into my site for people that just don't want to do that. So, yes, you can use my site with JavaScript disabled, which is based. All right. We're going back. We're back. We're going to have to pull up some more shit open because this shit crashed, but it's alright. Firefox. Back to Monero. Zero to marinara. Oh yeah, I forgot. Oopsies. Need to enable the network, guys. But once the laptop rolls in, I'll be testing out BSD. I'll try to do is, I guess, like the freest form of software that I can possibly find, with replacements of proprietary blob software. Obviously, it's not going to be perfect because the Free Software Foundation is kind of insane with the way they do it. Like technically my laptop would not be it because it uses Core Boot. They don't consider Core Boot free and open source because it has some proprietary blobs in it. To me, that is quite crazy, but whatever. I will be using like BSD for like a month. And I will try to use as many freer versions of software that I can. Now, before I do that, I'm going to get a giant jug of water, and we're going to consume this, and then go kind of find back where I was yesterday. I know we got to the introduction, and we got to some math shit, objectives, readership, outline, essentials, extensions, math, history of Monero, math. Here we go. We are in Chapter 2, Basic Concepts. I'm going to grab some water. I'll be right back. All right, we're back. Whew. All right. All right. We're back. read that part. Okay. In modular arithmetic, for C equals A, it's -1 mod n. AC equals 1 mod n. For 0, less than C, less than n, and for A and n relatively prime. Relatively prime means that they don't share any divisors except 1. The fraction A and n can't be reduced or simplified. We can use square and multiply to compute the modular multiplicative inverse, where n is prime number because of Fermat's little theorem. A n 1 equals 1. A times a n to dash d equals 1. C equals a n equals -2. Blah blah blah. More generally and more rapidly, the so-called extended elucidation algorithmic can also find modular inverses. Modular equations. Suppose we have an equation C equals 3 times 4 times 5 mod 9. Computing this is straightforward. Given some operation, for example, between two expressions A and B. A and B mod n, A mod n, B mod n, and mod n. In our example, we set A to equal 3, 4, B equals 5, and n equals 9. 3, 4, 5 mod n, 3, 4 mod n, times 5 mod n equals some more math. Now we have a way to do modular subtraction. A minus B mod n, A plus minus B mod n, A mod n, B plus mod n mod n. The same principle would apply to something like X or R. A minus B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, M, L, N, P mod n. In the equation, AB mod n is congruent to B in mod n, which means that mod n equals B in mod n. The modular multiplicative inverse has a rule stating if AC equals B mod n with an A and n relatively prime, the solution to this linear congruence is given by C equals A minus 1B. It means we can do C equals A minus 1B mod n and CA equals B mod n, C equals C minus 1B mod n. The modulus of large numbers can exploit modular equations. It turns out that 254 mod 13 equals 2 times 10 times 10 plus 5 times 10 plus 4 equals a definitive A decimal, R equals 0. For I equals A size 1 ... 0, A R equals R plus R times 10 plus AI mod n. Use the final R as result. Okay, the elliptic curve, basic concepts. What are elliptic curves? In a finite field FQ, where Q is the prime number greater than 3, is the field formed by the set of FE. Field, JavaScript bracelet, squirrely bracket, 0, 1, 2, ... Q, dash 1. Addition and multiplication and negation are calculated. Calculated means mod Q is performed on any instance of an arithmetic operation between two field elements or a negation of a single field element. For example, given a prime field FP with P equals 29, 17 plus 20 equals 8 because 37. Mod 29, 8 also 13 minus 13 equals minus 13 mod n equals 16. Typically, an elliptic curve with a given AB pair is defined as the set of all points with coordinates satisfying a Weierstrass equation. I think that's what it says. Y power of 2, I think that's the power of 2, equals r power of 3. AR plus B, where A, B, R, Y, E, F, Q. The cryptocurrency Monero uses a special curve belonging to the category of the so-called twisted Edwards curves, which are commonly expressed as, for a given AD pair, AX2 plus Y2 equals 1 DX2 Y2, where AD, R, Y, E, F, Q. In what follows, we will prefer the second form. The advantage of it offers over the previous mentioned Wienerstrab form is that basic cryptographic primitives require fewer arithmetic operations, resulting in faster cryptographic algorithms. See Bernstein ETL 1040 for details. So it seems like because they chose a different algorithm, obviously, is what they're explaining is that it's faster, and that's probably why Monero's speed is decent. That could be it. That could be my only assumption, and but again, I'm not a mathematician, so this is most of this is going over my head. I'm just maybe somebody in the chat or that watches this video later is really good at math and they understand all this. And if you do, awesome, major balls to you. I'm not good at math. I think I have the ability to be good at math. I think anyone has the ability to be good at something if they have a interest in it. I don't think math is this foreign language that people are like, oh, you have to be have a 300 IQ to fucking read it or achieve it or love it. But that definitely helps. And for anyone who listened to their teacher about Einstein, he was good at math. He's always good at math. He was never bad at math. Anyone who tells you that he was bad at math to make you feel better, they're lying to you. He was very good at math. What is it? Danger zone? Oh, what is the danger zone? Danger zone, are you talking about the software danger zone? Because the software danger zone is different. That's pretty cool. That's a way you can look. That's for like looking at PDF formats without exposing your computer to like opening up. If you open it up in the danger zone, it's more secure. And it's embraced and loved on Cubes OS. Okay. Let P1 equal X1, Y1, and P2, R2, I think that's X or R, I can't remember. Y2, B2 points belongs to a twisted Edwards elliptic curve, henceforth known simply as EC. We define addition on points by defining P1 plus P2 equals R1, Y1 plus R2, Y2 as the point of P3. R3, Y3, where? And then some math. These formulas for addition also apply for point doubling, that is where P1 plus equals P2 to subtract a point. Invert its invert its coordinates over a y-axis. R comma y equals R comma y 38, and uses point addition, recalling that negative elements minus r of f q are really negative r. Whenever two curve points are added together, P3 is a point of the original elliptic curve, or in other words, all x3 y3 equals fq, and satisfy the EC equation, the elliptic curve equation. Each point P and EC can generate a subgroup of order size U output some of the other points in EC using multiples of itself. For example, some point P's subgroup might have a order of 5. And notation: the phrase EF means A is some element in the field of F. Typically, elliptic curve points are converted into projective coordinates prior to the curve operations, like point addition, and in order to avoid performing field inversions for efficiency. Lots of math. We're going to get to the fun stuff. Put simply, the subgroups formed by multiples of HP always contain P and P2. Furthermore, H and P equals 0 when N is a multiple of L, and there are only H such variations of N, mod N, including the point of infinity for N, because when N equals HL, it cycles back to 0, HLP, weird symbol right there, equals 0, so there are only H points P in elliptic curve where HP will equal 0. A similar argument could be applied to any subgroup size U. Any 2 points P1 and P2 with orders U are in the same subgroup, which is composed of multiples N, U, P. With this new understanding, it's clear that we can use the following algorithm to find non-point at infinity points in the subgroup order L. Find N of the elliptic curve, EC. Choose the subgroup order. 1. Compute H equals NL. Choose a random point, P, in elliptic curve. Computer P equals HP. If P equals 0, return step 2. If step 2, else P is in the subgroup order 1. Calculating this scalar product between any integer N and any point P and P is not difficult, whereas SC scalar findings and scalar findings in such that PI and NP2 is thought to be conceptually hard. By analogy to modular arithmetic, this is often called the discrete logarithmic problem, DLP. Scalar multiplication can be seen as one-way function, which paves its way for using elliptic curves for cryptography. The scalar product in NP is equivalent to P plus P plus P plus P. Though not always the most efficient approach, we can use double and add like section in 2.21 to get the R sum equals NP. Remember, we use the plus point operations discussion in section 2.3.1. Define n scalar, n binary, A equals n binary, R equals 0, and the point at infinity, S equals P. Iterate through. I, then R. Iterate through. If AI equals 1, then R plus equals S. Computer S plus equals S. Use the final R as result. Note that the elliptic curve scalars are for points in the subgroup size, which will be used using henceforth are members of the final field F, whatever that symbol is. That means arithmetic between scalars is mode 1. No known equation or algorithm can efficiently, based on available technology, solve for n and p in P1 and equals np2, meaning that it would take many years to unravel just one scalar product. Okay, interesting. Now we're going to get into the public key cryptography with elliptic curves. Public key cryptography algorithms can be devised in a way analogous to modular arithmetic. Let k be a random selected number satisfying 0 equals k equals L, and call it a private key. Calculate the corresponding public key, k, and elliptic curve point with the scalar product kg equals k. Due to the discrete logarithmic logarithm problem, DLP, we cannot easily deduce k from k alone. This property allows us to use these values, k and capital K, in standard public key cryptography algorithms. Diffie-Hellman key exchange with elliptic curves. Very based. A basic Diffie-Hellman exchange is of a shared secret between Alice and Bob could take place in the following manner. Alice and Bob generate their own private public keys. Both publish or exchange their public keys and keep their private keys for themselves. Clearly, it holds that S equals case A, KB, and KA, KB, and G, and KB, KA, G, and then KB, KA. Alice could privately calculate S equals KA, KB, and Bob S equals KB, KA, allowing them to use this single value as a shared secret. For example, if Alice has a message M to send Bob, she could hash the shared secret H, S, computer R equals M plus H, and then send R to Bob. Both computers H equals H calculates M equals X equals H and learns M. An external observer would not be able to easily calculate the shared secret due to the Diffie-Hellman problem, which says finding S from KA and KB is very difficult. Also, the DLP prevents them from finding KA or KB. Schoner signatures and the fiat Shamar transform. Interesting. In 1989, Klaus Peter Schoner published a new famous interactive authentication protocol, generalized by Maurer in 2009, that allowed someone to prove they know the private key K of this given public key K without revealing any information about it. It goes something like this. The prover generates a random integer XERZ1, computers AG, and sends AG to the verifier. The private keys is sometimes known as the secret key. This lets us abbreviate PK equals public key, SK secret key. The Diffie-Hellman problem is thought to be one of at least similar difficulty to the DLP, although it has not been proven. Notation: the R in a ERZ means that it's randomly selected from 1, 2, 3. In other words, Z is all integers. Model L. We exclude L since the point at infinity is not useful here. Yeah, the Diffie-Hellman key exchange is an interesting type of cryptography where I think you can be aware of the private key and it still doesn't change anything. It's kind of interesting. There's other like cryptographic stuff out there that's really like insane, that gives you a lot of security and privacy. And then there are some arguments against perfect forward secrecy, but I disagree with them. I think perfect forward secrecy is a very nice thing to have. Chapter 2, Basic Concepts. The verifier generates a random challenge, C, E, R, Z, and sends C to the The prover computes the response R equals X plus C times K, and they send R to the verifier. The verifier computers R equals RG and R and AG plus C, K, and checks R equals question mark R. What type of government watch list are you on? All 6. And then there's a 7th one we don't talk about. The verifier can compute The verifier can compute R equals XG plus C times K before the prover. So providing C is like saying, I challenge you to respond with the discrete logarithm of R. A challenges the prover can only overcome by knowing K, except with negligible probability. If X was chosen randomly by the prover, then R is randomly distributed, and K is information theoretically secure within R. It can still be found by solving the DLP for K or AOG. However, if the prover reuses X to prove his knowledge of K, anyone who knows both challenges R equals X plus C plus, times K, and R apostrophe and X plus C apostrophe times K can compute K, 2 equations, 2 unknowns. K equals RRCC. If the prover knew C from the beginning, example, if the verifier secretly gave to her, she could generate a random response R and compute XG equals RG minus KC. When she later sends R to the verifier, she proves knowledge of K without ever having to know it. Someone observing the transcript of the events between the prover and verifier would be none of the wiser. The scheme is not publicly verifiable. Using the hash function instead of the verifier to generate challenges is known as the fiat Shamar transform because it makes an interactive proof non-interactive and publicly verifiable. Non-interactive proof. Generate a random number, ERZ, and computer XG. A crypto system with information theoretic security is one where even an advisor with infinite computing power could not break it because they simply wouldn't have enough information. If the prover is a computer, you could imagine someone copying the computer after it generates X, then presenting each copy with a different challenge. More generally, in cryptography, an oracle isn't any system which can give some extra information on system which would otherwise not be available. The output of a cryptographic hash function, H, is uniformly distributed across the range of all possibility outputs. That is to say, some input, AH, A, E, D, R, H, is the set of possibilities outputs from H. We use EDR to indicate the function is deterministically random, which is kind of a funny word. HA produces the same thing every time, but its output is equivalent to a random number. Note that non-interactive Schroeder-like proofs and signatures require either the use of a fixed generative G or inclusion of the generator in the challenge hash, including that is the way it is known as key prefixing, which is discussed a bit more later. I'm going to go drink some more water, and I'll be back in a second. Ooh, okay, I'm back. Snack. I got snacks, brother. Okay. If the power is demanded, cloning, copying. Okay. More generally, in cryptography and Oracle system, the output of a cryptographic hash function H is uniformly distributed across the range of possibility outputs. To say that it is for some input, AHA, EDR, SHH, where SH is a set of possibility outcomes, which we use EDR to indicate the function of deterministically random. Proceeds the same thing every time, but outputs is equate to a random number. Note that non-interactive Schoner-like proofs and signatures require either the key of a fixed unit or okay, we read that. Later, section 2, basic concepts. Back to where we are. Eating is bad for you. Yeah, if you think about it, we've always been told to eat throughout life. What if we just didn't, and it was actually better for us? How do we know that? How do we know that food is actually good for us? We could be being lied to. The nutrients in the food is way less than what it used to be. Look it up. I believe that. I think America's got it. I mean, like, definitely got a problem with the way we get our food, but at the end of the day, people should have choice. If you want to eat like shit, you should be able to eat like shit. I mean, that's my personal take. And people got to be careful with reading ingredients because they get, like, way too fixated on it. It's pretty retarded. Like, I don't think we should become like an autarky where everything is like, everyone just produces their own food. That's just not possible. That's retarded, but at the same time, you can just read the ingredients on the back of food yourself. With a grain of salt, though. Because if you look at some... I could put, like, the scientific nutrient of everything on food. And it looks fucking mad scary. And on a realistic level, I'm not... People be like, I'm scared of, like, what's in, like, food, and they'll be like, red dye 40, and then they'll go eat McDonald's. They'll be like, red dye 40 bad, and then they'll eat McDonald's. I'm like, bro, you just ate fucking McDonald's. What are you going on about? Until McDonald's doesn't exist. I don't think we can ever really talk shit. Alright, more of Chapter 2. Calculate the challenges using cryptographically secure hash function. C equals H, A G. Define the response. R equals X to plus C. I don't know if that's a fucking X or an A. God damn these fucking math people. What snacks are you eating? I eat a lot of peanut butter. Which is, like, not really the best source of protein. But it's mainly like peanut butter and crackers. I love peanut butter. It's like one of my favorite snacks. It's like super high in calories though. But I kind of need it. This house only eats Jif, bro. I think all peanut butter is real. But yeah. Of course. I do, I like crunchy, though. Crunchy peanut butter is peak. If you like smooth peanut butter, stay away from me. I think people that eat smooth peanut butter should be on a watch list. No, I know what you mean. This is a Skippy's. We only do Skippy's peanut butter, brother. Actually, real quick, autism moment. Yo, Peter Pan, bro. Shout out to Smuckers, for real. Peter Pan, I forgot about that shit. Are they even still around? I've had natural peanut butter. I just fucking hate stirring my shit. I don't like stirring my peanut butter. It sucks. And it's like goopy. No cap, though. This is what I'm saying. Blogs are crazy. There's a blog for everything. Like, who the fuck wrote this? Peter Pan's like poor people peanut butter. Like, people say Skippies used to be like that was like the big one. Like, quite literally the fucking peak. Let's look at this history before we go back to Monero. Peter Pan is an American brand of peanut butter that is marketed by Post Consumer Brands, part of the Post Holdings named after J.M. Barrie character. Oh, okay. The product was introduced by Swift and Company through its Derby Food Subsidy EK Pond Company. It was renamed Peter Pan in 1928. Plastic jars were introduced in 1988 for products sold in the United States. Mandela effect. Peter Pan's origins date to 1950 when Derby Foods manufactured peanut butter. I watch a lot of food history for no fucking reason, by the way. Don't know why. Originally packaged in a tin can with a turnkey and reclosable lid, the product's packaging was changed to glass jars because of metal shortages during World War II. In 1988, Peter Pan was the first brand of peanut butter to be sold in plastic jars. The product was the main ingredient in Frank Ford Candy Chocolate Company's now discontinued product, Peter Pan Peanut Butter Cups. In December 8th, 2020, Commerce announced it would sell the Peter Pan brand. Post Holdings transaction was complete 2021. Oh. Peter Pan and some great value Walmart sub-brands Peter Pan were linked to 425 cases of salmonella across the United States. Ooh. Damn. Involving peanut butter occurred in the United States. The recall involved both Peter Pan and some great value peanut butter products. Oh, nice. Peanut butter is selling nice. October. Peter Pan products returned to stores in late 2007. You know what? Controversially, I don't. I've never seen it. You've never seen it in your life. I don't really believe in the Mandela effect. I think people just have really bad memory. They just really have bad memory. People just have bad memory, and I don't trust people's. I don't trust something somebody fucking saw like 20 years ago either. Let alone a week ago or 20 years ago or 30 years ago. I don't really think the Mandela effect is real. You can kind of also fake everything on the internet. Okay. Back. It's real. Fruit of the Loom. I mean, how do you prove it's real? We can't really go back in time. And the Berenstein Bears. I mean, those are just popular, like, Mandela effects. We can't prove they're real. We can't go back in time and recreate it. I don't think people are like, this is real. I had this memory. And again, it's kind of, I think the Mandela effect's just like the telephone game. People just have rehashed this ideology as much as possible, and now we think it's real. The Mandela effect could be its own thing. Like, it could be its own, affected by its own thing. The Mandela effect could be a Mandela effect. You could think everything's a Mandela effect because you've been told it was a Mandela effect. How do you know it wasn't? You know, how do you know that it wasn't warping your brain? There was a common thing that people believed that the sky is blue because of the ocean. Not true. Luke, I am your father. Yeah, that is because people. Oh yeah, I know. I don't think that's a Mandela effect. I think that never happened. Also, Nixon never said never said. That's just a misquote. But what do you call it? Nixon never said I'm not a crook. I found that out through someone. This is the crazy one. That was the one that fucked me. It's from an SNL skit. Oh, wait. I think it was real. Where did I hear... Am I being... Okay, never mind. That was real. Which is the one that was told an SNL skit did? See? I Mandela'd myself. I know he never said Luke's I am... The actual quote from Star Wars is, no, I am not... No, I am your father, not Luke, I am your father. The popular misquote often attributes to the Mandela effect, which... Are you using Google? It's a virtual machine. Look, I'm not changing shit around for a virtual machine. I think people share a false memory, probably because it was just easier to fucking remember. Back to math, guys. God, I could have sworn that Nixon quote wasn't real. My own Mandela effect, bro. All right, chapter 2, basic concepts. Calculate the challenge using cryptographically secure hash functions C equals H, AG. Define the response R equals A plus C plus K. Publish the proofs AGR. Calculate the challenge C H AG. Compute R equals RG and R and AG plus C K. If R equals R, then prove must know except with negligible probability. Why it works. Change it now. Ask me tomorrow. Same time. An important part of any proof signature scheme is the resource required to verify them. This includes space to store proofs and time spent verifying. In this scheme, we store one EC point and one integer, and need to know the public key, another EC point. Since hash functions are comparatively fast to compute, keep in mind that verification time is mostly a function of elliptic curve operations. Signing messages. Typically, a cryptographic signature is performed on a cryptographic hash of a message rather than the message itself, which facilitates signing messages of varying size. However, in this report, we will loosely use the term message and its symbol M to refer to the messages properly speaking and or its hash value unless specified. Signing messages is a staple of internet security that lets a message recipient to be confident its context is intended by the signer. One common signature scheme is called ECDSA. ANSI X 9-22, and 69. Nice. The signature scheme we present here is an alternative formulation of the transformed Schoner proof from before. Thinking of signatures in this way prepares us for exploring ring signatures in the next chapter. Chapter 2, basic concept, signature. Assume Alice has the private key and the public key pair. To unequivocally sign an arbitrary message M, she could execute the following steps. Generate a random number, AERZ, and compute AG. Calculate the challenge using cryptographically secure hash functions, C equals HM, HE. Define the response R, such as that A equals R plus C times KA. In other words, R equals A, C times KA, published signature. Verification. Any third party knows the elliptic curve domain parameters specifying which elliptic curve was used. Use the signature. And the signing method, M, and the hash function, KA, can verify the signature. Calculate the challenge. C equals HMRG plus C plus KA. If C equals C, then the signature passes. In this, the signature scheme was we store two scalars and need one public elliptic curve key. Why it works. This stems from the fact that RG A minus C K A G equals AG equals C times KA. AG equals RG plus C times KA. And some more math, and more math, and more math. Therefore, the owner of KA, Alice, created CR for M as in message. She signed the message. The probability someone else, a forger without KA, could have ever made is negligible. So verifier can be confident that the message was not tampered with. Wow, interesting. I think that's an important key to factor with Signal is like you need to verify the sender. And I think when somebody changes their message, Signal has like a scheme that you pretty much set up in order to it pretty much sets up a scheme in order for you to verify that you're talking to like the person. Like they have a way to verify it, which is kind of interesting. Therefore, the owner could be not tampered with. Curve ED25519. Monero uses a particular twisted Edwards elliptic curve for cryptography operations. ED25519. The birational equivalent of the Montgomery curve 25519. Both curve 25519 and ED25519 were released by Bernstein ETAL 38, 39, and 40 in their respective notes. The curve is defined over the prime field F2555519 i.e. Q equals 2555 255 minus 19 minus 19 by the means of the following SRC, crypto ops, builder, reflect communication button, some structure, Linux structure. This curve addresses many concerns raised by the cryptographic community. It is well known that NIST standard algorithms have issues. For example, it has recently become clear that NIST standard random number generator algorithm PNRG, the version based on elliptic curves, is flawed and contains potential backdoors. Seen from a broader perspective, standardization authorities like NIST lead to a cryptographic monoculture introducing a point of centralization. A great example of this was illustrated when the NSA used its influence over the NIST to weaken an international cryptographic standard. Wow. We're getting a lesson about bad NSA moments. Curve ED25519 is not subject to any patents for discussion on the subject, and the team behind it has developed and adopted basic cryptographic algorithms with efficiency in mind. Twisted Edward curves have order expressible as n equals 2CL, where L is the prime number and C to the positive integer. In this case of curve ED25519, its order is a 76-digit number. L is 253 bits, 2 to the power of 3, 72, and that's a long number. It's not going to say that. binary representation. The elements of F25519 are encoded as a 256-bit integers, so they can be represented using 32 bytes since each element only requires 250 bits. The most significant bit is always 0. Consequently, any point in ED25519 could be expressed using 64 bytes by applying point compression techniques described here below. However, it is possible to reduce this amount by half to 32 bytes. Without giving further details, birational equivalence can be thought of as an isomorphism expressible using rational terms. Dr. Bernstein also developed an encryption scheme known as Cha-Cha, my favorite, which is the primary Monero implementation used to encrypt certain sensitive information related to users' wallets. I believe Cha-Cha 2020, Cha-Cha 2020, Cha 2020, whatever, is, I think they say it's quantum resistant. Don't know if that really matters because it could get cracked and break by the time that becomes even relevant. Even if Curve appears to have no cryptographic security problems, it is possible the person organizing that crate knows a secret issue that only crops up very rare curves, such as a person may have a randomly generated many curves in order to find one with a hidden weakness and no one knows the weakness. If reasonable explanations are required for curve parameters, then it becomes even more difficult to find weak curves that will be acceptable by the cryptographic community. Curve ED25519 is known as a fully rigid curve, which means its generate process was fully explained. National Institute Standardization of Technology and the means private EC keys in ED25519 are 253 bits. That is something to be concerned about too, because like somebody, and we're gonna do a quick moment of a talk, a perspective. So Ken Thompson famously pointed out that the C compiler could be backdoored and no one would ever know, and because no one would ever know, he could theoretically have a backdoor and see a lot of information that is not supposed to be obviously seen, and because the end user would never know that this is possible, there could be a theory that Monero is a complete honeypot and has maybe a built-in backdoor, and all the transactions could be public, and they could just be waiting for obviously bigger fish to fry, like kind of like types of people to use it, where maybe it's some of importance. Now, do I think that that's really the case? Not really, but it is something to think about, that you are putting trust into Monero's cryptography. You're putting trust that no one has done anything malicious to the code on like the back end, and you also are entrusting that even running your own node is somewhat not being is more secure than not. But food for thought. I mean, that could be just Bitcoin too, but you don't really need a backdoor Bitcoin when you have KYC platforms and retards showing off their wallet, pretty much their wallet history. ED25519 curve has the property that its points can be easily compressed, so that representing a point will consume only the space of one coordinate. We will not delve into the mathematics necessary to justify this, but we can give a brief insight to how it works. Point compression for the ED25519 curve was first described in section 39, while the concept was first introduced in this section 94. This point compression scheme follows from a transformation of the twisted Edwards curve equation, assuming a equals -1, which is true for Monero. X, y2, y2, y to the power of 2 equals 1 plus 1, which indicates there are two possibilities of our values for each y. Field elements x and y are calculated mod q. So there are no actual negative values. However, taking mod q of x will change the value between odd and even since q is odd. For example, 3 mod 5 equals 3 minus 3 mod 5 equals 2. In other words, the field elements are, x, I think that's x, and x have different odds, odds and even assignments. If we have a curve point and its x is even, but given its y value, the transformed curve equation outputs an odd number, then we know that negating that number will give us the right x. 1 bit can convey this information, and conveniently y coordinates has an extra bit. Assume we want to compress a point. In coding, we sent the most significant bit y to 0 if x is even, and if 1 if it is odd. Then resulting value y will represent the curved point. Decoding, retrieve the compressed point y, then copy its most significant bit to the parity bit before setting it to 0. Now it is the original y again. Let u equal y to the power of 2, 1 mod q v dy2 1. This means 2 mod. Compute some other math. Calculate using the parity bit from b. The first step to b, the least significant bit of them. Otherwise x. Return to decompressed point. Implementations of ED25519 such as Monero typically use the generator C. R45 where x is even or b equals 0, variant based on a point decompression of y 5 mod q. All right, guys, we're going to leave off here. EDSA signature algorithm, chapter 2, basic concepts. I will see you guys in the next video. Going to be a little bit longer probably next